3 weeks ago, I made a 100,000 point challenge for Metal Harbor. This meant that in Metal Harbor, I'd select Mission 3, and then I'd run through the stage using the back ring to my advantage and accumulate 100,000 points between multiple runs. For this video though, I want to focus on doing the same for Iron Gate, which is Eggman's first stage and the first stage in the Dark Story as a whole. Also, if you're like me, it's the better prison lane. But let's get right into it. Alas, our first run begins, where of course it's very tempting to chain on all 4 of these enemies, but you'll soon see later on that you can actually chain them with the 3 here and get a total of 7 rather than 4 and 3 separate. There are a few layers to this level to learn, and there are a few risks to take with it. But one thing I can appreciate about this level, whether you're casual, intermediate, or a professional player, is that no matter what, Iron Gate is never too boring at any given moment. One of the big risks that you can take actually lies just up ahead, in the elevator section. If you use the platform to descend, you will be traveling too slowly to chain together any meaningful combos, so it's better to use your hover here, but you better hope you lock onto those doors first instead of last, or you will likely fall to your death. While it's nice this section has multiple pathways, the normal one is usually the best, allowing you the easiest course of action to destroy most enemies in your way, and you can even chain together a couple combos here, which, while nothing substantial, is always helpful. Following this, we have the second elevator section, which again, you can use your hover to accumulate more points because your combo will go up, but there's always that chance that, unfortunately, the game just does not want you to live. However, I got lucky. Just before the missile to burst through the door, you can actually shoot enemies through the walls. We'll get back to this, as this is something that you can take advantage of. To finish off, this section here is okay. It is a bit of a flow killer, but it's kind of cool anyway. Now on to our second run. A run that's just shy of 14,000 points isn't a bad one to start off with, but it could be a little better. Luckily, with your carried over rings, you can start farming shields, which is awesome. Now, a shield won't protect you from a bottomless pit in a risky maneuver like this, but you can make it look stylish by chaining everything there is to chain together. Hey, I got the extreme classification for it, I'm very happy. And yes, they are known as classifications. Here's a little trick. So while the design of the level is going to blind you, just drop down on the right corner there, and then you can actually chain both groups of enemies together and get a bigger combo than what the game anticipated. It's only 400, but a win is a win. Now, similarly to the last section, it is very beneficial to use these enemies to your advantage, but it is risky as balls. And keep in mind, in a challenge like this, the one absolute unbreakable rule: do not die. I said this in the last video, but I need to put it out there. Do not die, especially if you're close to completion, because you lose everything if you die once. Of course, in this section, nothing changes, so we can move on to run 3. With a deficit of 850 points, we actually did worse our second run than our first, which is rather unfortunate, but we have more than enough time to make it up. I was aiming for 12 minutes to get this done within, but given that we just hit 4 minutes and we're not quite 1/3 of 100,000 yet, it means that our chances at success are looking a little low given the rate that I'm accumulating these points. Though, there's always that necessity to try a little harder. No sooner than later, in saying that, did I manage to hit a perfect in the first elevator section. If there's a way that anybody can feel amazing about themselves, that would be the way. There is one part of Iron Gate I am not crazy about though, and while it's a tutorial level in a sense, allow me to shine on it. When you look at Cosmic Wall and Weapons Bed, those levels make you feel like a god, and that's because you're pulling 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 point bonuses all the time. Here it's very tame and standardized. There's nothing super exciting about pulling off something satisfying here, because the most you're usually going to pull off, unless you yourself are very innovative, is usually like a radical perhaps, but otherwise, yeah, it's a very relaxed level in that sense. It makes sense why, but I figured I'd verbalize that here anyway. With that though, we can submit our third run and move along. Looking back at our third, positive results were shown. We broke the 14,000 point threshold, which is awesome, and got a few hundred points on top of that, so I'm very satisfied with how that went. This is the point where I started getting a little scared at this part, because while I was getting familiar with how to jank it, I was worried there would be one part where the game gave out on me and sent me plummeting to my death. The most crazy part about this entire thing is the fact that you're watching an Eggman stage, with Eggman having almost 400 rings. Unless it's a ring attack, you wouldn't see that, and even then, who ring attacks the next stage? It's just not designed for that. I alluded to this earlier, but one thing I had a lot of success with was locking onto enemies that were past the gate here, so I could get 2 groups of enemies at once just by shooting through the wall, which was incredibly satisfying, mind you. Our 4th run has concluded, and it was decent overall. It wasn't any 14,320, say like our 3rd run, but it still managed to beat the 14,000 threshold, which I'm comfortable with. One thing I love about this challenge is that it is the quintessential way to getting better at a Sonic Adventure 2 stage. See, it might be a little discouraging to play a stage and not be able to get that A rank, and you might want to go back to mission 1 or 4 or 5 and maybe it's just not clicking with you quite. But doing a challenge like this forces you to play the level over and over again, but you're not confined to the game standards. You can simply keep playing, learn the layout more, take advantage of things you didn't see the first few times you've tried, and suddenly it's like a constellation. Things align, it becomes more clear, and the big picture arises. Holy, I'm corny. Personally, I love to compete on the Xbox leaderboards for highest scores amongst Sonic Adventure 2 stages, though a lot of the top positions are hacked. But even then, as far as humane effort goes, I love to compete for it, and this method is great for that. With that though, we can move on to run 6. Run number 5 improved from run number 4 by a total of 30 points. That's 3 Chaos Drives, that's 3 rings, maybe 1 ring, 2 Chaos Drives, it's any of the sort. It's extremely minuscule, but hey, improvement's improvement. As always though, remember, the further we get into this, the more risky this part is, because all it has to be is our lock-on aiming for the gates last, and that could be our death. Luckily though, we're still good. The in-between of this run is always going to be rather straightforward though, as the enemy placements are nothing complicated, they're easy to take down. Yeah, I can understand this video feeling a little formulaic after enough time. Though I'm very pleased with how this part went. I was swift, I was effective with my time, and I was able to pull together not just a perfect, but a nice on top of that. 2,200 points, that's amazing. The crowning achievement for this run for sure is locking onto all of these enemies and the 3 enemies behind that gate, so I was able to chain together a total of 8. A tight indeed. The only problem is I got 45 seconds left, and I still need 14,500 points. I can tell you right now, that's not going to happen. Our last run concluded with over 15,500 points, our best run by quite a margin. So what's with the Jaws-ass music, you may be asking? Well, I can tell you with certainty we won't be beating our goal. 12,000 points in that short of time is just impossible. You can't even pull that shit on Cosmic. Well, actually, you probably could. But much like the Metal Harbor video, I was in over my head. Again. It is a little upsetting that I didn't quite hit my goal, but that's okay. I was at least pretty close to it, and if and when I attempt this challenge again, with Iron Gate or Metal Harbor for either stage, maybe I'll be better equipped to handle them. But as it stands, I still have some improving to do, and that's what makes this challenge so fun.